Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Surviving with Sicket.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you so much for tuning back in for another episode. As you can see, we made it back from the exploration in the end there. In the last episode, we defeated the Ender Dragon and went and found an end city. So we got our elytra here. We also did get some shulker boxes, and I think I got enough shells to make, I believe, about 8 more shulker boxes. So I think that'll hold us over for now. But yeah, so we've gotten a good start here to kind of get ourselves moving forward. I think in this episode, what we're going to work on a bit is probably setting up one of our first, a little bit bigger farms. I think we're going to look at setting up an iron farm. Generally, I like to start with an iron farm in the beginning because iron can be used to make like hoppers and pistons and other materials that we'll end up needing for lots of different farms in the future. So I feel like that's a pretty good place to start, is to get an iron farm set up. In order to do that, though, we're going to need some more villagers. We have the ones in here that have all of our trades and stuff, but we're going to need some regular old villagers to get an iron farm going. So I'll probably spend a little bit of time getting some villagers bred up. I did a little bit of kind of clearing of some of the land up here to just smooth it out a little bit, not a whole lot, because I do kind of want to try to work with this terrain a little bit and not flatten it out too much. But I think what we'll end up doing is maybe making an iron farm kind of just on the other side of that hill where it's not really noticeable right from our starter house here, but is still probably hopefully at least within the spawn chunks. So I think we'll probably make it up here on the other side of this hill. And what I want to do with some of the farms, kind of like what we want to do with some of the villager professions, is make some different buildings with some of the farms in them. So I think we'll probably in this episode at least get the farm set up. I don't know if we'll get to building something around it just yet, but we'll at least get the farm set up. So that nether portal will probably end up moving in the future there. Because I want to set up, I think, the iron farm maybe over here, kind of on the edge of what I want to have for this kind of area here. So I guess we can fly up a little bit, talk a little bit about the plans. So we have our starter house over here. This is kind of the valley area that I want to start doing the village in. This will probably be an area for kind of some more houses and stuff, just a little bit more of just kind of a little town area. And then I think over here will be maybe a little bit more of kind of an industrial area with some farms and stuff. Along with up here where we've already started with the kind of villager breeder and sugarcane farm up in this bit of a hole here. So we'll have some of our maybe more basic stuff up here that is just kind of the starter stuff that I don't want to necessarily build buildings for. So some of that stuff like the sugarcane farm, we probably will eventually making a bigger one and maybe put it into a building with some other farms like a maybe a pumpkin and melon farm and things like that. But I think what we'll start on is getting an iron farm set up there, and then maybe in one of the next few episodes we'll try to build a building around it. I haven't really come up with a building design yet because there are some kind of limitations of making sure that the building is far enough away from the actual farm that the iron golems don't spawn outside of the farm area. So I'll have to work a little bit with figuring out exactly the dimensions and stuff that we'll need to go for. But for now, I think we'll get an iron farm at least set up over here. And that way we can start getting iron coming in passively for us, which will really help us be able to, like I mentioned, get some materials and stuff that we'll need for other farms in the future. So I'm going to do a bit of work trying to get some more villagers. I'll have to get some more food going, some more carrots and potatoes to get some more villagers going. And then that way we can get them into the iron farm. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing that and gathering some of the resources. I probably won't use anything too fancy on the actual farm itself because we're going to try to cover it with a building. So probably just use some, stone and stuff like that, maybe some stone brick or things like that to actually make the farm. But yeah, then we'll try to build a house around it and and kind of make it look a little bit nicer. And then we can continue on, probably do a few episodes of making some different farms for the next couple of weeks to just get ourselves settled as far as some of the basic resources that we're going to need, so that we can continue to expand and kind of build more of the village and stuff out to that valley over there. So for now, I'm going to get started on getting some of those materials and getting some of those villagers bred up, and then we'll bring you back to build the iron farm and see how that goes for us. All right, so I've done a bit of preparing. I think this is going to be where we put the iron farm. As you might be able to hear, we got some villagers tucked away in here. We got 3 of them because we're just going to start off with building kind of one segment of the iron farm. I've also got some of the materials that we're going to need to get this built up. The design that we're going to be building is by Logical Geek Boy and his, I believe it's like his Simply Minecraft playlist that he does. So shout out to Logical Geek Boy for the design. It's a pretty simple, basic design. I know there's some that are maybe a little bit more simple, or some different designs that you can use. But this is one that I've used for a while, and I just kind of like it. So I'm going to stick with that one here. And like I said, this is going to be just kind of the basic farm that we're going to put together right now. And then I think what I'm going to try to do is build a building around it, maybe some sort of like tower or something, since this does have to be a good ways up in the air. I believe 16 blocks is the right height off the ground to make sure that the iron golems spawn where we want them to. So I think we've got most everything. The only thing we don't have right now is a zombie, which we'll have to get towards the end there. Hopefully we get all the villagers in place and everything, and then bring the zombie up after, and that won't be too much of a hassle. I'm going to put that bed down just for now, just in case we need to sleep through the night. But we're going to get started with building this up with just some of the basic stuff that we need here. Let's see. Some of this stuff we're not going to need right away, but we're going to need once we kind of get started on actually building everything up. And then we're going to need the beds as well. So I'll grab that one and put it on after. So what we're going to start with is we're going to come up the top of this scaffolding, and we're going to throw down... Oh, did I not grab? Oh, we're going to throw down the cobbled walls that I forgot to grab. So I just did some cobbled deep slate walls, so we're gonna put those down, a couple of those down at the top here. This main part that we're starting with is where the zombie is actually gonna go. So we're gonna put the cobbled wall. Let's see if we can build off of this a little bit. Gonna put the cobbled wall down here, and then we're gonna have another one that goes right there attached to it. So two stone walls down there. And then we're going to go up here a little bit. Oh, nice. We can build right off of this. This will be good. And then we're going to put some glass around here. That one's just a temporary block there. And the glass is going to go out to here. That's another temporary one. Make sure I got my silk touch. I do. We can get those back. And then we're going to build up one here in the front. So this front section here is going to be where the water is going to flow. So we're going to have water in here that's flowing forward into this section here. And what that's going to do is that's going to make the zombie that's going to be in here bounce up and down. And what that'll do for as far as the farm is that's going to make it so the sight lines to the villagers, or from the villagers to the zombies, will be blocked for a second, and then it'll pop back up and be able to see that. They'll be able to see it again, and that will scare the villagers so that they'll make the iron golems. So we're gonna have a bucket of water that goes right there, and that is our zombie portion here complete. So this is where the zombie's gonna go, and like I mentioned, I'm gonna take this one out just so I can kind of show you. He'll kind of be like this, bouncing up and down, bouncing up and down. And that's going to cut off the sight lines and then allow him to see the villagers just for a moment, but also allow them time when he doesn't look at them to sleep in their beds. So that is all good there. And then what we need to do off of this is we need to go a few blocks out. We're just going to bridge out with some, let's see, do I want them on? which side do we want the villagers on? I think we're going to do it on this side since they go down a little bit further. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the 5th block out here is where we're going to have our first bed. And then we're going to keep these beds a little bit separated here. So we're going to go a couple blocks out on either side. And we're going to put down the other beds. So one here, and then I'm going to go grab this one down here and just put it up at the top. We can sleep up there if we need to, because it is getting close to nighttime. So we'll hop back up here. This is part of the reason I wanted to have the elytra and everything before we started building up a lot of farms, because quite a few of them do have some good height to them, and it's just a lot easier to get up and down with just having the elytra and the rockets instead of having to scaffold up all the time. So that's where our villagers are going to go. I'm going to break out some of these blocks for now. And then over on the side here, we're going to want to come out to the, oops, not right there. Out to the corner here. And we're going to go on 1, 2 blocks up. And this is where we're going to start our platform above here. So the 2 blocks is to give the villagers enough height here to be able to stand. They're going to be standing right on their beds. So it gives them enough height to be able to stand right on their beds there. And we're going to build this out. And I believe it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to say it's 5 by 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I believe this goes one more out here. Go ahead and just sleep in this bed here when we can, just to pass the night. There we go. This will kind of give you an example. This is what should happen with the villagers. They'll sleep and then they'll pop right back up on top of their beds here, since there's no other spaces for them to spawn on. So we're going to fill this in. I actually probably want to get up there. We're going to hop up here. Let's see. So we got the base. This is going to be the spawning platform where the iron golems will spawn. I need to throw the glass in, but I'm thinking, yep, it does end up being 5 wide, but I believe this 5th one is actually glass here on this side. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we bring our glass out to here, and then we bring our glass on this edge over here. And then right here in the middle, we're going to have some hoppers. And we need 3 hoppers. I'm trying to figure out how I can get underneath this. I'm going to jump down here onto the, try to jump onto the bed here. Because we're going to need, this is a little, this part here, this collection part is a little different than the way it's done in Logical Geek boards. Generally, it would just be some chests up here, or some hoppers, excuse me, up here that go into a chest where you can collect the items. But what we're going to do is we are going to have the hoppers that go here, here, and here. But then underneath this last hopper where everything is collected, we're going to do a dropper, but we need it to be facing, oops, we just lost the dropper. We need it to be facing down. So let's see if we can, there we go, perfect. So we're going to have a dropper facing down right there. And the reason we're doing that is because that way we don't have to come up here to get the drops every single time. So we're going to throw some hoppers into this. We're going to have 3 hoppers. The 2 on the outside are going to be feeding this one. And that one's going to be dropping items down into the dropper there. And we'll set that all up in a minute. And then so what we're going to do next is we're going to build up the edges here. So along the edges, we're going to build up with some glass around the outside. We're going to just build a 2-high wall all the way around here. Don't need the corners in there, so we can take those out. And actually, we'll do it this way so we can easily take the corners out there. Oh, missed that one. We'll drop down and get that in a minute. Build all the way around here. Take that out. And then we're going to make this all 2 high all the way around. Get a little bit of a glitch with the Optifine here. The blocks are there, but you can't see them. There we go. So we'll build this up all the way around. And then in this corner here, we're going to go up a few extra blocks. I believe 2 on the outside. That, don't know if we need both of those there, but that'll be good for now. And then one thing I did forget to grab is some signs. So we'll pick up all these blocks while we're down here. Get our dropper back. We're not going to need that one right now. That's going to be for if we do want to expand this, because we're making just one side on here right now, but you can double it up and make another villager and an iron golem area on the other side. So we may potentially do that in the future. But I think for just a single player world for the starter iron farm, one should do us okay for now. If we need to build up the other side because we're running low on iron, we can always do that. But another reason I like this design is it's kind of expandable, so we could always take it further up if we wanted to as well, depending on the building that we try to build around this. So let's grab a few, or let's make a few signs here. I believe we just need the 3, so let's just do that for now. Just gonna take this with us here. Oh, and actually, while we're over here, I'm gonna grab a bucket of lava because we're gonna need that as well. So I'm gonna grab that. And so we're gonna do a sign down here, sign up on the right, and a sign up on the left, and that lets us put this lava right in here without flowing out anywhere. So what'll happen is we're gonna take a bucket and we're gonna put a bucket of water in this corner, and that should, oh, did we do it wrong here? We may have gone one too far this way. Yep, it looks like we went maybe one too far out here, because this should be right where all these water edges line up should be where this ends. So we're gonna pull this back out here just for a moment so we don't burn ourselves. All right, and so we're gonna fix this up here. I'll jump down and grab those in a minute. So this is actually where it should end, right here. And actually, so we'll take out this extra glass here, since this is not where that was supposed to go. We got one too far on the side, so we'll get rid of all that. Go to grab that sign as well. Grab all of our extra blocks that dropped down here. Let's go back up and try this again, and hopefully this will work out this time. Let's jump back down here and put our dropper back in. So our dropper is going to go right under this block here. And hopefully, yep, that should be out of the way of everything enough. Oh, nope, it needs to come one block down. Not right there. Right there. And do we get it facing down? It looks like we did. All right, so we can take out these temporary blocks here and put our hoppers back down in here. So that one going into the dropper, these ones going into the center hopper there. And let's retry this lava here. So we got a sign there, and a sign below. And we'll put our lava back in. And now if we place the water bucket here, perfect. So that's how it should line up there. So we were one too long on the one end there. But this way, the iron golems will spawn in, and then they'll get pushed into this lava. We won't hit the lava because we're only 2 blocks high, but the iron golems are 3 blocks high, so they would run into that lava there when they get pushed into the corner. And then as you can see, that also funnels any drops over into that corner as well. Now we're going to take this back down, grab all these extra blocks if we can. So now that we've gotten this kind of collection area up here, what we're going to do here is this is going to be where, instead of just collecting the items in a chest right here, which I believe in the tutorial Biological Geek Boy, he just puts a chest up here and has the hoppers going into that. But instead what we're going to do is we're going to have this dropper here. And we got a couple cobwebs, so we're going to throw a cobweb underneath that dropper. All the cobweb does is make it so when it shoots out the items, they just go straight down in one spot. It kind of stops them from shooting all over the place, because droppers will kind of shoot out items in random directions, but the cobwebs should bring them all down just in a straight line. They'll fall a little bit slowly through it, but they will, or they should at least, stay kind of right in the center there as they fall through, and that'll make it so they fall through in just to one spot down at the bottom. And then over here, this is where we have some of these redstone components for. We're going to throw a comparator if we can get it down. Yep, a comparator off of that. And that's going to go into a solid block. Need a little bit of a platform here. All right, and this is going to go into redstone dust there. Into this block here, and then we have our repeater, which is going to go here. Or no, excuse me. I believe repeater goes there. Redstone here, and you will see it's got power right now since it's connected. Let's see if this works out the way it's supposed to. Nope, we got one drop out of that, but we should be getting. Oh, maybe I did have it right here. So if we do repeater here, redstone here. But that's not going to power that because of the way redstone is now. It doesn't cut the corners. Let's see if we... Nope, that's not what we wanted. If we throw redstone down there, hopefully that'll quasi-connect. It's not connecting to the block there either. I know there's a simple way this should work, but that doesn't mean I know it by heart to actually make it work. So give me just a minute. Let me fiddle around with this for a second here and see if I can get it working. All right, so here we go. It looks like we've got it working now. I was just missing one piece of redstone. Totally forgot that needed to be there. So what this is doing here is it's going to, when we put items in here, and we'll actually do that now just to let it drop some out and show you how it kind of comes through the cobweb. It's going to shoot them out, and they're going to kind of go straight in the middle of the cobweb here, and that'll give us the spot where they're going to fall down. So this comparator is reading whether or not this dropper has any items in it, and when it does, it sends out a signal, and that goes through this block here and powers the redstone that we have under here. That redstone is going to then power this block here, as well as this redstone up here. So this redstone is then powering this block, which in Java at least, there's the quasi-connectivity where it kind of can power diagonal. So that's powering the dropper. So every time this reads a signal, it powers the dropper, but then in the same time, it's powering this block here, which powers this repeater, and that makes this, or that powers this redstone, which then kind of puts a redstone signal into the side of this comparator, which shuts off the comparator. So that's why you get the kind of, multiple signals going through. So it's reading it, it's sending out a block, but then it's also shutting it off at the same time, and then it turns back on, and so it kind of just has a little loop here. It's a clock, so that every time you'll see it turns on and off, and that'll make it so that it's shooting out all the blocks there. And what that's going to do, of course, is when items come into this here, they'll go into that dropper and they'll get shot down, and then we're going to make our collection area down below here, and we'll throw down a hopper on top of that. So now any of the drops should fall straight into this hopper and into this chest here. We'll just use a single chest for right now. I think that should be good for the moment. If it starts to get really backed up, we can always add more storage on later. That's kind of the main part of the farm there all done. So now the next thing to do is going to be get the villagers up there, and then get a zombie and get him up uh, in this little water spot here. So I'm not going to make you guys watch that part. It's just going to be me moving villagers and zombies around, but I'll get that part done and then bring you back in to show you the final project and hopefully show you the working iron farm in the end. All right, so now I think we've finally gotten everything in place here. So as you can see, we've gotten our zombie up there who's bobbing up and down in that water. We do have a block over top of his head, as well as a slab on top of that. The block to stop him from burning up in the sun, and then the slab just to make sure nothing can spawn on top of that there. We did give him some armor. The helmet I threw to him, and then a chest plate. Actually, another zombie dropped while they were chasing me, and he picked that up as well. So since he's got some armor on him that we gave him, he shouldn't despawn. And as you can see right there, we do have some iron golems already spawning in and getting swept over into that lava spot there. And we should start seeing some of those drops come down. So this isn't the most they're the fastest iron farm, mainly because the iron golem does kind of stay in the area of the villagers for a little while. Ideally, you'd want to get the iron golem to be far enough away from the villagers quickly so that they could start spawning another one. But again, with it being a single player world and just being iron for our uses here, it shouldn't be a huge deal. Yep, and as we can see, they've gone through the little dropper system there, and we got some poppies and some iron falling down. We got it going into the collection system here. So definitely starting out pretty good. And I mean, it is pretty quick. As you can see, there's already another golem spawned up there. So they do spawn them pretty quickly. And with this being, I believe it's still being in the spawn chunks. I didn't count out exactly, but we're not far from spawn. So this should be running pretty much all the time. So we probably will eventually need to add some more storage on there, but yeah, we've got our working iron farm here ready to go. So I think what we'll do in the next episode is we'll try to figure out maybe getting a building started around this. It's going to have to be a little bit of a bigger building, so I don't know if that's something we'll get all the way done in the next episode, but we might at least think about some pallets and some designs on what we might want to do. And then one of the next big things that I want to do is get just kind of a regular mob farm set up, because as I was doing this, you might have saw I was using a bit of rockets to go up and down and stuff. And as we build some more bigger things, bigger farms and buildings, we're going to need more rockets. And as of right now, I think this 39 is about all I have. And that's mostly because of the gunpowder. So, we have a bit of sugarcane. We have the really slow sugarcane farm that we can always expand. Now that we're getting more iron, we'll be able to make one with maybe some railways that collect things. So this will really help us be able to make some better farms. And I think a mob farm will be one of those that we probably need here in the near future to be able to get the gunpowder that we need, but it'll also give us bones and string and all sorts of other stuff that we'll be able to use either for building components like making the string into wool, or just for things like rockets and getting ourselves around. But with that, I think, now that we got our iron farm up and going here, I think that's where we'll call it a day for today. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Everybody have a great day, great night, great evening, and we'll see you the next one. Bye.